Hi guys, it's David here from Write On Resources, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Functional Skills Level 2 Writing Assessment. So we're going to be looking at a simple kind of assessment that you might be faced with and just talk about how you're going to approach it and hopefully make you feel a little bit more confident about having a go at this assessment. So even if you're someone who's doing Functional Skills Level 1, this is still going to be important to you because hopefully it will be something you'll go on to do in the future. So whenever you are faced with a writing assessment, the first thing you should think about is the TAP. Now when we say the TAP, we mean the topic, which is the themes or the ideas that are expected to write about. The audience, so who is it aimed at? Who are you addressing? So what age group, what kind of demographic? Is it mainly males or females? Is it older or younger people? Who are we really targeting with our writing? And the final one, the purpose. Does the writing either need to inform, advise or persuade? So these are very important factors that you need to take into account, and when we think about the purpose, this will affect the tone and the style of your writing quite a lot, so it's important to be aware of those before you start the exam. So we're just going to have a quick look at a typical writing assessment that you might face. So as we look through it, I just want you to think about the TAP. So again, that is the topic, the audience and the purpose. So the example says, many organisations require their staff or students to wear a uniform, while others ban certain haircuts and have strict rules about tattoos and piercings. Do you think this is fair? Should everyone be allowed to look the way they want, or does a dress code encourage a professional approach to work and study? You decide to write an article about dress code for your workplace, college or your school magazine. So this is quite a wordy question, but it's a really fantastic one to get some practice with as well. So we need to be thinking about the TAP, so the topic, the audience and the purpose. So if you want to pause the video now and to try and scan the text and to figure out what that is, that's fine. But now I'm going to go through some of the answers as well. So hopefully you would have picked up on this. So the first thing I would have thought about is the topic, right? So what do we really need to be focusing on in our writing? The first thing that jumped out to me was this bit. It's all about uniform, so about whether staff or students wear the uniform. Another thing that pointed out to me was this bit. Do you think this is fair? So the use here of this rhetorical question is telling me that I'm able to express my opinion. I can agree completely, I can agree only a some bit or partly agree with it. It's entirely up to me, and that option will be conveyed within your writing assessment as well. Another important thing to pay attention to is the last line here. So you decide to write an article. Now you need to be confident and aware of the different forms of writing that you might have to do. An article generally is quite a straightforward one to do, and we'll go and look through that in a little bit. And the last thing to think about here was the audience. So it says the workplace, college or school. So that really opens you up to many different possibilities, and what I'd advise you to do is to think about your peer group. And when I say your peer group, I mean aim it towards your own demographic, the people of your own age or your own experience as well. Now it doesn't actually tell us the purpose of it, so that's where we need to look at it a little bit closer. It kind of seems quite broad here, which is fantastic, which gives us lots of different things to think about when we come to do our writing. So for this exam, it will give you some tips on what to focus on. So if we're writing an article to give our views on dress codes, you should think about including these things in your article. So first one, outline the dress code at your workplace, college or school. Explain the arguments for and against dress code. So with that bullet point, we need to take into mind the pros and the cons that come around this issue. Give your opinions and persuade people to agree with you. So when it says your opinions, that means to express your own personal view. And when it says persuade, we need to think about using typical language techniques that are going to help win people over. Typically, these are going to use things like De Forest techniques. If you haven't looked at those before, then please check out our next video, which will focus on them in more detail. And the final thing, you should aim to write about 250 to 300 words. So this is very important because it gauges how much you need to write in the actual exam. 250 to 300 words would be about half a page, so you don't need to go through and count every single word, but just think about if it's half a page, a little bit over than that, then that will be absolutely fine. So this is one of two questions you'll be getting in the exam, and this one alone is worth 21 marks. Before you begin your assessment, it's important to think about how to structure your article. So how you present your writing is just as important as everything else. As we are writing an article for this question, the first thing we need to think about is the heading. So write a heading that explains the topic you're writing about. If you can make this a catchy one, then that's great because it will stand out to the examiner. If not, don't worry about it too much. Just make sure that you're including that as a presentational feature and then move on to the main body of your writing. So the next part we need to think about is the introduction. So you'll briefly explain what you want to talk about and why this is an important issue. Okay, so think about the kind of topics you want to actually touch upon, the main ideas behind your writing, and briefly go into them in your introduction. The next part is the main body. So in the main body of your writing, you're going to write 3 paragraphs and have 1 point in each explaining your point of view. The reason why we keep it to 1 point per paragraph is because then it doesn't get too crowded up with so many different ideas. It's nice, simple and straightforward, and it allows you to communicate your ideas in an effective manner for the examiner. Finally, we have a conclusion. So you need to sum up your main points and arrive at your final thought. There needs to be a point behind your writing. So when you come to your conclusion, think about what should they do or what should they think about after they've read your article, and what is the kind of conclusion and main ideas that were presented within your writing. If you need any extra support or help, then new videos will be supplied every single week. There will also be our partner channel that you can see there called Bookworm Teaching for more lessons on English and functional skills as well. I hope you found this video helpful. Please do like and subscribe and check out our next video, which will go into this question in a bit more detail as well.